We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
So within the last 8 years, you say?
Yep. Within the last 8 years, I watched that movie that we were talking about slightly before I hit record, and then mentioned that I should have hit record, and now I've hit record.
I don't know when I last watched that movie, but, you know, I imagine I would have shown my son the movie in his younger years. So it could also have been within the last 8 years.
Yeah, or, I mean, at least within the last 12.
At least within the last 12. Before he was born, I watched it monthly. But then I just couldn't find the time after he was born. So now I had to switch to, once every 12 years or more. I haven't even watched it since the last time I watched it, which is the case for every movie ever.
It's the type of movie you only watch as often as Tool puts out albums.
And that is maybe a good metric to go by, but that varies too. It's not even like
it's a good one.
A set number of years.
I wouldn't say it's a good metric to go by for anything.
Well, just let's try it.
Because at this point, you might never know if you'll ever see it again.
That's true. Do you see me right now?
You are frozen on my screen. So
correct. I'm also frozen on mine.
So I don't know. Oh, there it went.
I'm back.
All right. We'll see how that goes on the edit, because it was quite the interesting little smirk you had there.
Well, I will definitely cut just to you during that.
I think it would be way funnier if it's just on you the whole time. Anyways, so if you guys know what movie we're talking about, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
There's no context.
Yes, the comments.
There's no context at all for anybody to say, even remotely think of what that movie was that we were talking about.
It's a tale of heroism, finding the bravery within yourself against all odds, maybe. Basically, a little kid gets separated from his family while traveling to another country. Figure it out.
I mean, that narrows it down a lot. Yeah,
right? As I was describing, I'm like, that's the perfect description for a few movies. And I'm frozen again. This sucks. I'm frozen again.
When did you last do a restart?
I don't know. Shall we do it?
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. We're back.
Hey, this was instantaneous for y'all. For us, it was, a minute and a half? Maybe. Did you miss?
If that. I didn't time it.
I didn't miss this. I didn't miss time. Well, students, turn your textbooks to page 191. Today, we're going to learn about the Catskills.
We're going to learn about immigration in America.
Wait a second. You're giving them too many clues.
Oh, no. It's about a Jewish family immigrating to the United States.
And having to deal with the established cat population.
Where they assumed there weren't any.
And the streets were paved with cheese. Now, let's say that... I mean, why would they think that roads being made of cheese was a practical idea?
Sean, they were Jewish.
Mice. Yes.
They didn't know any better.
They've probably been tested on with various beauty products.
Have we given enough clues yet?
It was animated.
Oh.
So.
It was directed by a Mormon.
I didn't know that.
I was just reading something about it. Yeah. I saw a link that said, "Is this movie Jewish enough?"
Well,
so I clicked.
What was their conclusion? Did you get to the conclusion?
I didn't get very deep. I didn't get very deep into it.
Shoot, Scoot, and Boogie.
But I don't know. It just talked about that it was produced by Spielberg.
It was you know what?
Who would go on to not only embrace his own Jewish heritage, but also direct Schindler's List. So I guess this movie was the gateway to Spielberg, embracing his Jewish heritage.
Gotcha. I guess maybe to cement his position in the entertainment industry, that was necessary to do. No,
I'm not going to comment on that.
I just posed a question. I just posed a question.
Well, you're just saying that he had to embrace his Jewish heritage to be successful in Hollywood.
I'm asking if that were the case. I'm not in the end.
Why are you asking? Are you asking me, or are you asking the
I'm
general
asking the world.
public?
I'm asking those.
I'm asking.
I know. I'm asking those that know this sort of thing. I don't. I'm not in the entertainment industry, even though I host this podcast.
Yeah, like I'd say we're in a facet of it. We're in a deep dark.
I think in order to say that we are in the industry, we would have to get paid to do this. Yes. Unless you're
not necessarily.
Some people are interns, I suppose. So I guess we're interns of our own show. So Matt, with that being said, why haven't you gotten me any coffee in all these years we've been doing this? You're a gopher. I don't drink coffee.
I was about to say, when have you ever drank coffee?
I sipped some type of coffee-esque drink one time, I recall. Okay. And it was way before way before the last time I watched the movie we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, which we haven't disclosed
not
yet.
Given the title out.
The only time I've had actual coffee was like just straight up black coffee.
Sure.
I tried it one time. This was well before me and you ever met.
Okay. All right.
Other than that, I've had like cappuccinos.
Those are typically in smaller little cups, right? They're smaller?
No, that's espresso.
Okay. So cappuccinos, those do it for you? They're not so coffee-like?
You're all right. Like, I've only really ever had a French vanilla cappuccino, and they're fine. They don't have that coffee taste. I don't like the coffee taste.
See, if they don't have the coffee taste, that might be something to try for me. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't think I don't believe a cappuccino would technically fall under the category of coffee. I believe cappuccino is its own thing.
I
don't think it uses coffee beans.
Oh, because I thought like
I don't actually know.
Espressos and cappuccinos and all that stuff all just fell under coffee. I thought it all fell into coffee. I'm frozen again. Why is this happening? I'm frozen again.
I mean, I think it went away.
Oh, good.
We're gonna just try to power through it.
I figured out.
I think it.
I figured out how to get it to the right camera on the phone. Remember that was a problem.
Yeah.
And now we're having this situation. But who cares?
Well, hopefully it's not gonna.
No one watches it.
Continue. We'll either edit around it or
highlight it.
Not. Yeah. I would say. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe like if you look at like the generic category of coffee, it can all kind of fall under that. But when you break it down into like the subcategories or whatever, I guess coffee is technically kind of its own thing.
Well, because
even though there's like a million different types of coffees, like the same as there's a million different types of beer.
Yeah, like I just think anything you would go to a coffee shop for counts as coffee,
right?
I guess, but I mean, never mind. Yeah,
I mean, you can get water at a coffee shop.
I was just about to elaborate that you could get little biscuits or muffins and all this other non-coffee things.
Delicious coffee.
Coffee muffin.
Yeah, let me take the peel off of this coffee. Are you frozen again or just okay? I think it was a combination of you were holding your face there and it did freeze slightly.
Did it? Oh. My spirit was frozen.
Okay.
And then it was frozen too. Electric or Frozen Boogaloo.
I'm so tired of that being that every
You
time
know,
there's something two, it's always Electric Boogaloo. Every fucking time. We need to come up with some new ones.
I never do that. I don't know why I just did that.
Yeah. It was bouncing around in my head, and I told myself in my head, I said, don't fucking do that. Don't do it. And then you said Electric. I'm like, no.
But then I changed it to Frozen.
We have to come up with new ones.
Well, there has to,
I mean, there's so many things that rhyme with two.
Right, but isn't it based off of an actual sequel that's called that? So then you'd have to think of other sequels where the subtitle of it or whatever rhymes with the number 2.
I mean, we could just make a bunch up. It doesn't have to be Electric Boogaloo every fucking time. We can just make up, to subvert the
expectations.
Whatever expectations.
Like Frozen 2.
We bought a zoo.
That's another movie title.
Yeah. Well, still.
Okay. All right. I like that. Frozen 2, We Bought a Zoo. And this is where we will leave you all. Goodbye.
Frozen 2, Electrocute Snooze Magoo.
Electrocute him?
Yeah, see, because that made you think I was going to say Electric Boogaloo. Like, it got you.
Seriously. I'm like, why is he doing that?
Yeah, I saw your face because your camera wasn't frozen for that moment. And it was like, he thinks I'm going to say Electric Boogaloo.
Like,
wait, he's going to be spinning on his head in a second.
And you won't be able to tell because my camera will be frozen. No, I was like, geez, he already gave up. He already bailed on this whole idea. He already just, gave up.
Mm-hmm.
That was too easy.
And then you were like, whoa! You turned into Tim the Toolman.
You made a believer out of me. Yeah, I went, and then I said that this, whatever we are doing requires more power. And then I told my son to go play basketball.
And you called me Jill.
I called you Jill because you're the female in this relationship. And
because I'm your wife.
And I'm the husband who,
legally.
In his attempts to fix things, ends up making things worse beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also host a show where I talk about tools. And you are also on that show, coincidentally, as Al.
As another, I'm multiple people.
Well, we're on a budget here, Matt. We're interns. We're interns on our own show, and so we have to what do they call it? Shoestring production. So we have to, that would have been a much better name for the production company that we quote unquote had back in the day. Well, we could still do that. Copyright.
Yeah,
Sean and Matt,
we're copyrighting that.
Shoestring production.
It probably already exists.
I'm not gonna search engine it. I'm not gonna. I refuse.
Yep, you're not gonna Bing it. Sean.
Search engine. I covered all of them. I'm not gonna DuckAGoGo it. I'm not gonna Bing it. I'm not gonna Google it. I'm not gonna Kleenex it. I'm not gonna Tyvek it. Nothing.
I'm not gonna Pickle it. You're not gonna ask Jeeves.
I'm not gonna ask Jeeves it. No, those other things were not search engines. But they were products where people just call the item the name brand versus what it is.
Oh, yeah. Like Band-Aid?
Yes, Band-Aid. Like no one says, give me a tissue. They say, give me a Kleenex. Right. No one says, give me some home insulating wrap. They say Tyvek.
Yeah. Everybody's always asking for Charmin. They never ask for toilet paper.
I ask for Cottonelle, idiot.
Oh, I'm more of an Angel Soft kind of guy.
Someone we know.
I like the idea of wiping an angel on my ass.
I like the idea. Wait, which one? Which is the one with the bears? Is that Charmin?
Charmin. Yep.
I'm not sure why. I don't like the bears. I don't like those guys. Like all of their enjoyment is around wiping their asses. And like that they have the right toilet paper to do so.
Yeah.
And besides, I've witnessed hundreds of bears shitting in the woods, and I've never seen them use any kind of toilet paper. Ever.
I don't believe that's
animated
true at all.
Or otherwise.
I don't believe I've never. Hold on. First off, no. What animated films are you watching that they're showing bears shitting in the woods?
I didn't say this was a film. I was in the woods and I saw some animated bears shitting in the woods.
It's like Winnie the Pooh walked by.
Yeah. That's why he just.
I mean, he's only wearing the shirt. He can just drop it. Yeah,
see?
it's just
he just doesn't want to be encumbered by pants. Like, oh, I got.
And he definitely doesn't wipe because his hands are too busy with
for
honey.
Sure, and that would be awful. Try to wipe with honey covered hands. Not gonna happen.
And his name is
It is Pooh, right? I mean, it's right there.
Yeah,
it's written on the walls, Matt. Gross.
The Poop Nazi was here.
I still, even though that event is long over, I still want to campaign my secondary name, which was Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, I don't think that would have went over as well.
Why is Poop Nazi so much better?
Because I mean, at least as far as saying it around school at the time, the teachers would have been more frowned upon saying Adolf Hitler a lot more than
at least
Poop Nazi or Fecal Phantom.
At least that name kind of definitely like pins it to one person. They're saying this is one person that's going around doing this because he was one person. Labeling it as some type of a Nazi. There were thousands of Nazis.
Yeah, but also Adolf Hitler didn't act alone, so...
But there's not another Adolf Hitler, is what I mean.
There might be.
Anyone who, to this day...
It's fairly doubtful anybody... Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Hitler name itself is dead and gone. I don't think anybody would want to... Yeah, I'm sure anybody at that point would have been like, I'm going to take my mother's name.
Or if they got married, they're like, you know what? Even though I'm the male and it's traditional for the female to take my name, I'm going to take her name this time. We kind of want to bury this one.
Or they can hyphenate it in some way.
Sure.
Depending on what the hyphen would turn into.
Like, hey, my last name is Sympathizer. You want to hyphenate that?
I am Donna Hitler Sympathizer. Donna, not the most popular German name. No, but couldn't think of
Helga. Yeah. I don't know.
Hildy
Hitler supervisor. I can't talk. Hitler. I'm a Hitler synthesizer.
Wonder what that would sound like. Just have to record the name Hitler and then play it on my synthesizer.
Yeah, you got time. Matt gestures toward his synthesizer. I'll crop your video just above that section, so I can't even see your hand.
It's right.
Oh, shoot, I can't do anything about that. I'll just cut to me.
You just zoom in on my face.
I zoom into your guitar behind you. I mean, why is he pointing to his guitar?
Like my synthesizer.
Oh man,
it's
so tiny. Watch me play it.
It's really hard to play. It's so small.
String. That's the sound a guitar makes, right?
It's my electric uke.
String. I think the best guitars sound like that.
Sean, a lover of music.
I like to call myself a musician, a musicorian.
So like a musical historian? I don't think that's what you are.
At some point,
name a song from the past.
I want to hold your blue suede shoes.
Son?
Stepson? Yeah, hey, listeners, send us an email with your favorite song from the past, and we'll compile a list that we present, and we'll read live next episode. A couple episodes from now.
In the subject title, put spam so we know it goes to the correct folder.
Because it's called Song Preferences around. I can't think of a word that means.
that was good.
No, I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't even. Yeah, song.
It's spam with 3 M's.
You know, it's like that Crash Test Dummies or Crash Dummies, Crash Test Dummies.
Crash Test Dummies. Yeah.
Although I think that had 4 M's, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was
right with the first M being capitalized, as in they earned a lot of money off that song.
Did they?
Yes, that was their like.
Is that what the first M stands for?
Yeah, money. It's a subtle.
The song's called Money.
They just abbreviated it to. They wanted to leave it open to appeal to more audiences, the rich and the poor alike, the capitalists and the socialists alike.
I'm having a hard time figuring out what to write down that we've talked about in this episode so far. It's absolutely
just
everywhere.
Say a little bit of everything. A little bit of country.
Oh, that's
a little bit of rock and roll.
That's going to be the whole description of this episode.
Your two hosts talk about a little bit of everything.
Your two hosts talk about a little bit of everything. A little bit of Monica by my side.
A little bit of Rita's all I need. Is that, I don't know, Gina? Wait, I forget.
I think it's Rita.
Sandy in the Sun, I think.
I mean, I've lost that for me. That's all I've.
It's been at least 12 years since I've heard that song.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the name or who it was by.
It's Mambo number 5
by the Jayhawks.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't remember the name of the group.
A little bit of you makes me your man.
Something like that.
I would prefer to listen to Pony by Genuine. Is that who sang that one?
I would prefer to listen to the death rattles of a car crash victim.
They only get one.
Yeah, it's true. You got to make it count.
Take a deep breath and then let it all out.
Make it
gurgle.
Girl, ladies. I said girls.
Yeah. No,
make it gurgle,
no.
girls.
Don't do that. Oh, dear. We're in trouble now.
I mean, it's not technically wrong.
Yeah, I know, but it's...
You didn't specify
It's
age.
safer just to say ladies, I guess, even though that's not age. There's no boundaries.
Grandmas.
Yeah.
Will be extra safe.
Make it gurgle, great grandmas.
GR.I.L.F.s.
GR.I.L.F.s? I know, but I said GR.I.L.F.s for like great grandmas. I don't know.
Is the R's really?
Real what? Grandmas really? Wait, I'd like to.
You said grill. Okay, sorry. I was in my head. The R was before the L, which would make it girls, which makes it weirder. Which kind of puts us back in the other territory.
Yeah, we're still back in the danger zone there. So let's just not mention any of it.
I mean, the G in GILF alone could be either two, so that still puts you back. It's until you specify, it could make you in bad territory.
That's why I said GR.I.L.F, which is GR.I.L.F, to hopefully imply that the GR is together to represent grandmas or grandpas, grandparents. Right. I want to cover it with both grandparents.
Yeah. So you're a both or none kind of person. You're like,
if I can't have both,
I need a stable relationship, old couple that have children that have their own children. At least. This is not
a lot to ask. There's plenty of those out there. Plenty.
Yeah. It was a different generation. They honored that till death do us part oath back in the day.
It's not so much anymore.
The divorce rate of pensioners is 0.
It's 0. Fact check. Yep. Intern, go look that up.
Better search engine.
You better see that. SE, search engine. It's an engine, but you do it in a browser. Search Bringer. We are screeching to a halt.
How often are people actually browsing the internet? I think most people, like, when you get on the internet, you go to a specific site and do what you do on there. You're not really browsing the internet. You're browsing like a specific site, maybe.
Yeah, like a shopping site or something. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, Reddit.
Yeah, there are people that do that. I am not one of them. Are you a Redditor?
I have a really hard time. Like, the only time I really jump on Reddit is if I'm like, I want to jump onto Reddit to find something for here.
Okay. Yeah.
But I feel like Reddit's one of those things that if you didn't get into it super early, it's kind of hard to get into it now.
Like,
because it's too crazy. Like, there's just so much on there to try to find or do anything with. It's like it's like jumping into a show in its 10th season and
trying to
it's just
piece it all together, trying to figure out who's who and what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like watching Memento backwards
on your day off.
Just kidding.
I think it's like
while you're shitting
if you're not super familiar with Discord, for example, not to hate on Discord.
Yeah, Discord is kind of a pain in the ass to use.
It's clunky, and I actually did a Google search. Sometimes when I'm feeling a certain way about something, I'm like, do other people feel this way? Internet. So I'm like,
yeah.
I looked up like, why are people pretending that Discord is good and easy to use? And there was someone that posted on Reddit, like, why? They are all just, I think it's one of those things where everyone does it because everyone does it. That's the only reason. There's no, like, it's not user friendly. It's not easy to figure out.
It's clunky as hell. It crashes a lot.
Death rattle.
There's not a lot of great things to say about it, and that's it. It's the end of my thoughts.
You can create your own servers, which the whole idea of having a server, I don't like that term either, because there's not billions of just single function servers just sitting out there in a server farm, and like if you start a server, you have that hardware to yourself. Like,
right,
you might have. It's just like,
unless you make your own server in your house that you can run.
But whenever people play Minecraft, they will like, oh, I started a brand new Minecraft server, or I created a new Minecraft server. All these Discord servers. It's just that.
No, it's like, you have your own little dedicated space that only you and your friends have access to, but you're on a server with how many other hundreds of groups of people.
It's pretty much just a private chat room or with the only people that have access to it are those that are invited. And it's not a server. I'm not sure why that term has going to take up.
No, it makes things a little bit more stable, but
calling it a server?
If you're no, when you do stuff like that, when you do set stuff like that up, like when we were playing that game Pal World together for a little while, I was quote unquote running. I didn't really have a server dedicated to it, but I had my own room set up. If I would have actually had a server set up to it, we probably would have had a lot less problems with the fact that the game would constantly crash and I'd have to restart it all the time. Plus, I was playing it through Play Store and not the Play Store,
the Xbox, whatever, cloud gaming or whatever, Game Pass.
I was playing through Game Pass versus purchasing and downloading the game directly to my Xbox and playing it would have been a lot more stable too.
I'm trying to remember because I was doing the same thing, and I'm trying to remember. I know there was one time I think where I played it on my computer using Xbox Cloud Gaming, and I can't remember if that was more stable for me than going on the Xbox itself or not. I forget which was better, but still.
What's crazy is like when I was trying to play it on my computer, I never had crash issues. I only had
lag.
The fact that my computer couldn't handle the game.
Yikes.
Because my computer's not at all a gaming computer.
Yeah, neither is mine.
So, once I started playing it on Xbox, I could play it just fine, but it would just it's been 30 minutes, time for a crash. Yeah. All right, load it back up. Then I have to send you the link so you can join back in the game.
It happened a lot didn't it happen a bunch, like if we were entering somewhere, like a cave or something?
Yeah, if we were going to go into a cave or something like that, it would constantly do it. It was super
I wonder,
annoying.
When's the last time you looked at that game? I wonder if it's come any further, if it's gotten any better, if it's still in beta.
Probably around the last time me and you both played it is probably the last time I jumped on. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I haven't touched it.
So I know, and I haven't even looked at like updates on it or anything if they've done a bunch, and I'm not sure how much they're doing to the Game Pass version versus the actual like purchase version of it.
Well, it should be the same because
I think
the only thing Game Pass gets you is access to games that you don't buy. So it should be the same version you're playing. And so I imagine any update they do to the version you could buy and download is the same version that would be offered up on Game Pass. So
yeah, I don't know. I thought about it the other day. I'm like, I wonder if I should turn that back on and see how much has changed.
It'd be interesting.
And then teach myself how to play it again because it's been so long.
Well, and wouldn't you have your world still that you started? Yeah.
Yeah. I'd still have my world.
Your server.
My server with all my 3 bases and all my little pals doing all their little
all my
work.
friends are there. My pal friends.
Yeah. I played a lot of that game by myself.
That's what
because then every time you would come on, you're just like, well, you've done all this stuff. What do I do?
I know. I didn't play it solo ever, so I was never like, oh yeah, I figured out how to do these things. So it was a lot of, all right, Sean, come along with me, and we'll help you get your stats up, and you can catch.
Do this. Oh, you need this. Hey, I got this awesome weapon here that's way more advanced than what you're
gonna do yourself
playing with. So just take this. And, I already made a bunch of those, so just take a bunch of what I have.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Yeah, I already got a bunch of orbs stored over here somewhere. Just go ahead and grab a bunch of those and go catch yourself some pals with orbs that you aren't even haven't unlocked
my character's
yet.
level is not someone who could have unlocked that anyway. Yeah. It was I think that since it had those issues where it would just lock up and have to restart, I'm like, there's a lot. I just don't care about video games anymore. I just don't care. And so if there's multiple levels of complication just to do anything, I'm like, I'm not interested in this. Give me something like Worms. Even that is like, I got to learn how to use all these weapons.
Oh no, because I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, you don't like video games anymore. Want to play some Worms later?
I don't mean I don't like them at all, but if there's a huge learning curve, I'm like, I don't care enough to learn this. And those games where it's like, it's like open world and you're supposed to spend, so many hours of play on it. And there's all these side quests and all this. I'm like, nah, just give me NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
See, those kind of games are the games I like playing with people more. Like if I'm going to get on and play a game with you, I want it to be a game where like we're playing Worms or we're playing NBA Jam or Micro Machines or something like that, where we're like competing against each other as opposed to like helping each other and stuff. Well, what makes it tough is that because I started doing all this stuff because I was like talking to Travis and I'm like, oh, we should play some games together and stuff. And he's like, yeah, Travis plays a lot of different games and he jumps around a lot. So it's really hard to, first it's hard to like nail him down to have a night to play and stuff, which is expected, but it's also hard to then like do a game where it's like Pal World or this other one we started playing that I can't remember the name of now, but basically you're like this little shrunk down person in a backyard and you have to like collect and make things and build forts and basically because you fight insects and all this kind of stuff. And
you fight insects?
I can't remember. Yeah,
I love this game already.
It's hot. But he's like, oh yeah, you should download that and we'll play it. It's super fun. I'm like, okay, cool. I download it and I started playing a little bit and getting used to it. And then I finally got, we played together one time for a little bit and stuff. And then that was it. And then I was playing by myself again for a while. I'm like, it would be way more fun with another person to play. But I think games like that, where you're like fort building and leveling up your characters and all that kind of stuff, unless you have a dedicated group of people you're going to constantly play it with, it's not as enjoyable as just like one-off games where you can just be like, hey, let's jump on for a couple hours and play a few rounds of Worms and just laugh and have a good time. And there's no, we can stop in the middle of a game and it's not going to be a big deal. And we don't have to pick it up again for years.
So I think if the game isn't like that, like if it's not a simple game like Micro Machines, Worms, everybody's golf, then if I don't have someone to play a game like that with, then I'm just not going to play a video game.
That's why I'm glad we started playing Worms
again. Yeah, it's
been
fun
because it was cheap.
Oh yeah,
it was was super cheap.
Every time I go to Josh's house, we end up playing a few rounds of everybody's golf, which is basically what Hot Shots Golf turned into. Okay. Yeah, like the PS4 and on versions. I'm not sure how many there are, but they just changed the name for some reason to Everybody's Golf. That's all. The same company makes it. It's exactly the same. They just changed the name. I'm not sure why, but yeah. Weird. But
used to play a lot of that.
Now that's a game I used to play a lot just solo, because I would try to best my scores in various courses, and I would try to get crazy hole-in-ones on skipping it off the water and all, crazy stuff like that. But I remember I used to play that Gran Turismo a lot. I think it was.
You used to play a lot of Gran Turismo.
I think it was Gran Turismo 3, whichever one came out for the PS2 when the PS2 was brand new. That's the only one I ever played, but it was.
Yeah, I remember you'd do those like long, like the races that took hours.
The endurance races. Well, because I'm like, it might take a little bit, but the payout is so much more than these quicker races. Yeah, you can do way more races in a shorter amount of time, but the amount of if you compiled, like, let's say you did a 2-hour endurance race, the amount of races that are smaller that you could do in those 2 hours still wouldn't earn you enough money to equal what you would get in the endurance race. So to me, it was like, there's a no-brainer here. Right. All I'm trying to do is earn money fast so I can get more expensive cars and soup up the cars I have. So
right. Didn't you do endurance races every once in a while where you'd get so far ahead that you'd just like tape down the button and walk away for a while if it was just like an oval track? Or am I remembering that incorrectly?
No.
And then you'd come back and be like a little bit behind, and then you'd get back ahead of everybody or some shit.
I might have. The only thing I remember, I might have done that. Because really, I'm sure I tried that. Because otherwise, I'm sitting there for hours every race, which
just holding a fucking button down for
the only.
I mean, that's
the only strange thing I remember specifically doing. I don't remember if we mentioned this on here or not. We probably did, but when Mark came over and I was going to take a shower. So sorry to anyone who's heard this already, but I'll just tell it quickly. I was probably 40 laps or so ahead of everybody else in this race. And I'm like, hey, Mark, I'm going to go take a shower. Just keep going in this oval. And then I'll if you finish the race, cool. If you're still doing it when I'm done with the shower, I'll just finish it. And my shower, I shower probably 15 minutes, maybe 20.
Yeah.
And I came back down, and somehow Mark had gotten himself like 15 laps behind everybody else. And I think he was in the sand or something. So
he just panicked and didn't know what to do.
So
did he turn around and start going backwards? Like, how do you
get? He might have been going the wrong way. And you know what? Mark, he's never been great at video games, but that seems like too bad to be. Like, I don't think anyone can really be that bad. I think he might have done it on purpose.
Yeah, probably. But he's a real asshole.
And I've seen a lot of them, and he's the best one. But I would
just the right amount of poker.
I did yeah.
Don't think about it.
I did win that race in the end. I did win. Because you can't win a race at any other part of it.
It's true.
That's a fun fact about races. You can tell at parties.
How long? Do you remember how long of a race that one was? Was that like a 2-hour one or something?
I don't even remember what the range.
How pissed would you have been at the end of it if he did that and then you ended up losing?
Yeah,
I
was
like motherfucker.
I placed 10th or something. I would have been pretty irritated because I did that so much and I spent so much time on those races. I would have been pretty mad. And I don't remember what the range of durations were for those races. I want to say minimum was probably an hour, maybe two to 2.5 was the most. I don't know if it went up to 3, and
you only had the one TV and you didn't have like, iPads or anything at the time.
There's no picture-in-picture.
It's not like you could have been watching something.
Yeah.
Not like you could have just been like, well, let me throw something on the other TV while I'm doing this. So at least I can be like enjoying a show. I can keep glancing over at something.
Yeah, no.
Get some giggles.
I didn't even have a ham radio.
No, you were just a kid.
I was just a kid.
In his bedroom in the basement.
Driving
in a circle for 2 hours.
watching a digital representation of a vehicle.
Alone.
Yeah, I mean, hey, sometimes you were there. Sometimes Mark was there, as we've discussed. So
yeah, well, this is one thing.
But
I
was
say.
alone a lot.
I would not have gotten you 15 laps behind had I taken over.
You know,
for
we
you.
should somehow get a hold of this game, and we'll see if that's the case.
I would never sit down and do a 2-hour endurance race.
To be honest,
at 20 years later. More than.
I'm trying to remember if it was actually a time or if it was a certain number of laps that was just really high, like in the hundreds. I think it was probably a time, though. But either way, because really, I don't know. I think it was maybe number of laps, but let's not hang on this dumb topic forever.
Yeah, I mean, this is good stuff. What else do we want to bore people with? So I've been packing.
Yeah. Why, Matt?
So because I'm moving.
Oh.
And so I finally went through some of those boxes that had just been up on top of my closet since I moved into this place.
With important stuff, I'm sure.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff that got thrown away. I went through and threw a ton of shit away that I had no business holding on to anymore. I did find a bunch of my stories.
No way.
I did not take them out of the box for some reason.
Why?
So that box is resealed.
Well,
because I forgot, because I took other stuff out and then I put those back and then I packaged more stuff up and then that box got closed. And just now I realized as I was sitting here, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't keep the stories out.
Well, at least you know where they are. And so once
I do know where they are.
Bust them out.
I do have one thing I left out because it wasn't titled or anything. It's just this big old freaking paragraph. And by big old paragraph, I mean it is legit one sentence.
It's an entire page.
It's an entire page that is literally one sentence because there's a comment inside this story that mentions how it's a really long sentence.
Okay.
That's right at this point right here. So it's about halfway through when it gets mentioned. I read through this just before we got on. It is god awful.
Well, do you remember what this was?
It's not even funny. Okay. I couldn't tell you why this was written.
That was my question.
I don't think it was written for anything. I think this was just one of the times I just wrote something.
It was written for you.
It was written for a very special someone. It's my suicide note.
Which that's for everyone.
Yeah, I just haven't published it yet. I'm going to publish my suicide note.
Self-published.
I'm in works with Penguin right now.
Hey, you're all about taking care of yourself, so it's a self-published suicide note.
Yeah. It's called this. It's the Suicide Diaries. It's a real thing. I don't even think I want to read this. I have other things though.
Do you want to just read an excerpt?
I don't even think I would want to do that. It's hard to read an excerpt of one sentence.
Well, no, it isn't. You just start somewhere in the middle and end somewhere in the middle.
A spot where there's comma.
No, you don't have to do that. We're pretty loose with the rules here on this show. I've been telling people to open up textbooks for months now. I'm pretty sure no one ever has, and I don't hold them to it.
Well, we've never told them which textbook. It could be any textbook at this point. So there's a lot of people out there that are opening different textbooks and they're on completely different pages.
Well, they're on
the same page. But
It's weird. They're on the same page, but they're not on the same page. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, some of the books don't even go.
Some books don't even have pages.
I could read a little bit.
Please.
I have the knowledge of necromancy, so I was able to raise everyone back to life, except Billy. He smells. I don't know why he smells, but he does. Nobody loves me. Billy loves me, but he smells, so I don't love him. This is one long sentence, I said. If only they came in multiple colors, I would buy 100. That 100 spelt very incorrectly.
Oh, good.
We Al, what? We need all we can get.
So is this one sentence?
Clearly not correct either.
This is only one sentence because you didn't punctuate it. That's it. Like,
oh, there's commas.
Okay, but there are commas.
There's commas in a lot of spots because I was specifically writing to be one sentence.
But so since there's a lot of these things are expressing complete thoughts, it should be a semicolon instead of a comma.
Oh yeah, well I don't know that. I'm not smart enough to do that. I was barely smart enough probably to put in commas.
Probably you did it.
Yeah.
So you'd buy. We all need whatever you said. We all something.
We need all we can get. You look at your hand. Red is your color. Now the angel said to me, so I looks and I sees funny stuff like flaming water and other stuff. He had the face only a mother could love, the kind of mother who is blind in one eye and had that milky film over the other. But he was my identical twin brother. His name was Billy. He smelled. And then it's going to get into something that happens towards the beginning because it says, oh no, the penguins have come back. So we'll leave that as a cliffhanger for the fact that you don't know what happens with the penguins at the beginning of the story. It's god-awful.
You just cut it off at the interesting part.
It's a lot about penguins and a lot about monkeys and pickle juice and zeppelins. All sorts of stuff happens in that story. If you want more, you subscribe to our Patreon.
I was just going to say that.
On top of that, I have found full copies of all of the written pictures that Sean had made. Sean's newsletter from high school. I had several copies actually, but only created one complete copy of each and then threw the rest away because I don't need them. I'm not going to sell them like you did, you punk.
People were willing to pay
and then
them
I also
them.
They were. I don't know why we were doing this, Sean, but at one point we wrote down a long list of different porn styles. Do you recall this at all?
Sort of. I remember.
Sort of. I don't know why we were.
I remember
this.
hearing or coming up with. You might have come up with oldie but goodie porn.
Yeah. Is that? I wonder if that's on this list. So it's. I have 3 pages, 2 fully back to back, and 1 half page.
That is a lot more than I thought there would be.
Porn styles.
I thought this was a 1-sheet situation.
Nope. So let's go through these porn styles, shall we? This is the section of the episode where Matt
reads things.
So
bear with us.
Done. All right,
folks.
Porn styles. I couldn't tell you when we came up with these, why we came up with these. All I know is it is my handwriting, and it's a green pen.
Did we do this at Josh's house or one of our houses? Or somewhere else.
It could have been all of the above. This might have been multiple days worth of stuff.
We could have been like,
and then you tell me if any of these ring a bell that you think maybe you came up with, or just ring a bell in general. So, basically, these would be like different subgenres of porn. So, porn is just kind of the all-encompassing coffee of the sex industry, and these would be the cappuccinos and the frappuccinos.
Yeah,
specifying it down into like granny porn, and I don't know what's the new one is like stepsis, and or like I'm stuck in a dryer.
What way to tie it into the earlier discussion?
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. I thought you'd like that. All right. So we have afraid of making mistakes porn.
Okay.
So this is 2 people having sex, but the whole time it's really awkward because neither one of them wants to screw it up. They both want to have really good orgasms. Mm-hmm. There's constantly asking why porn.
Okay. Just like
be,
crying, like
yeah.
why,
why, or like Or like one person's like, like, oh, fuck me harder.
Why?
And he's like, why?
Yeah, I like that better. It's like the inquisitive child.
Yeah, like,
why? Oh, like dismissively, like, why would I do that?
Maybe dismissively.
I thought I was more curious, like, oh, why? Why do you want that?
Oh, yeah, why would you like it harder? Yeah. Is that going to hurt?
Like, oh, do me from behind. Oh, what? Why? Like you're just confused and curious.
Constant environmental changes porn.
That would be hard to do. Like,
yeah.
Well, I guess if you're just like, if the weather happens to be very unstable,
like you're fucking on a dormant volcano and then all of a sudden it erupts.
Yeah. Or you're out at sea and there's a crazy storm that capsizes your boat.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you're like, you're in Oklahoma and suddenly it twists.
I thought you were going to say you're in Oklahoma and then suddenly you cross state lines into Texas.
Illegally.
Or if you're skydiving over the ocean and then you land in the ocean and continue to fuck.
That's an environmental change for sure.
Because you started in the plane.
Or you start fucking in the ocean. And then there's
you get picked up by a fire and rescue
where
plane.
Are you going? The way your face went, I was like, "Where does he think I'm going?"
Like I got it. No,
the only thing I could think of, I was going to say, there's a sudden drought, like a very sudden ocean drought, or a tsunami.
Wow, I guess which one of those are more likely? You getting scooped up by a plane, or the ocean is gone? Suddenly?
Yeah, I would say the plane probably. Well, scooped up by a plane is kind of interesting. Like, or you're saying like it's a fire rescue plane, like they're putting out a forest fire and they come and scoop you out of the ocean. And then so your environment changes from the ocean to being carried in a plane to then being dispersed amongst a fiery forest.
There was like
that's a lot of changes there. That's like, and you're fucking the entire time. Which is very impressive.
How to not be phased by these things happening? I suppose that's what the subgenre is all about.
I mean, that's what you're into. Yeah, that's the kink.
No, that's an old myth. And if I forget, I think it was the movie Magnolia that even talks about it at the beginning. It was the story of some scuba diver that was just out having a good old time scuba diving.
Oh.
And then they found his dead body just up in the top of a tree because he got dumped out of the plane. Yeah, got stuck up in the tree and there was no one around to save him except the fire and rescue plane. Maybe should have seen him at some point because I'm sure maybe it was on their last pass across the forest.
Well, it's like how close to the surface was he scuba diving?
He was snorkeling.
Okay.
Or he was scuba diving very shallowly. He's like, I just like.
Yeah, he might have just been surfacing.
I just like to float at the top. But anyway, yes. So that wasn't a completely original thought by me. That's an old thing.
Still, I didn't remember it. I think a lot of these probably won't be as thought provoking as that one just was.
I hope they are.
There's imaginary people porn.
Okay, like the person you're with is real, but there are other people. Like you're just pretending to be watched.
I'm wondering is it that, or is it just two different imaginary friends
having sex
with each other? So if me and you each had an imaginary friend, and then our two imaginary friends started having sex with each other, each one of us would only see the other one,
like they're just having sex with nobody,
giving or taking.
Now, what troubles me most about this subgenre of porn is what types of people are more likely to have imaginary friends?
Well, oh, sorry, coughing fit. Well, better mark that time down.
5609 or whatever on take 2.
So I just recently rewatched the movie Drop Dead Fred,
which I don't think I've seen.
Okay. It's still, so it came out in 92. And so I watched it a lot as a kid, and watching it again as an adult, still pretty good. Okay. So basically the premise of the movie is, this child has an imaginary friend who's getting her into all this mischief. Her mom
is the imaginary friend named Fred.
Yes, his name is Drop Dead.
Drop Dead Fred. What a morbid little child.
Mm-hmm. So Fred's getting her into all this trouble because she's like making mud pies on the table and like he cuts her hair in the middle of the night and then puts the scissors in her hand, and so her mom thinks she cut her hair and all this stuff.
Framed. And my face has been framed.
So after the mud pie thing happens, the mom Fred like says, "Oh, the mega bitch is coming back. She's gonna get mad." So he's like, hide me, even though nobody can see him. So he jumps into a Jack-in-the-Box. The mom takes the Jack-in-the-Box, tapes it shut, and hides it away. So now Fred is locked away for years. And then 20 years later, she's like grown up, but she's really timid and meek and like just does whatever her mom says and all this stuff. And her husband starts like seeing some other person. So she goes back and stays with her mom, finds the Jack-in-the-Box and pops it open, and Fred comes back out. Now she has an imaginary friend again in her 20s.
Sure. Okay.
So the premise is that she's an older person with an imaginary friend. So it's possible.
Well, no one said it's impossible. I'm saying what type of people are more likely to have imaginary friends.
Typically it's children.
Right.
So we should mark that one as not
a bad idea.
Okay. All right. Not a bad idea. Moving on. There is lack of creativity porn.
So
that's just like Mormon sex.
Or just, a married couple having sex in their bed.
Sean, are you
missionary style?
Are you familiar with the practice of soaking?
No.
So this may or may not be true, but some Mormons say it's not a real thing. Some Mormons say it is a real thing. So they're very strict on no sex until you are married in the Mormon religion.
Is sex only to procreate, or can it be done for pleasure?
I don't know if it's necessarily only to procreate, but it's very frowned upon to have any sex before you are actually married in a heterosexual married relationship.
Right.
So supposedly the loophole in this is it's not sex if there isn't a constant in and out motion. So therefore, the practice of soaking is to enter a woman and just hold it there. Just put it in and hang out, no motion.
But I would argue that the initial penetration is sex. So then they've already broken the rules.
Yeah, so that's where the argument comes in of
it's
not technically a loophole, but some say that, well, we're not actually having sex. I just put my penis inside.
Okay.
We're not having sex.
So this is the when does life begin part of the argument.
Yeah.
Why do I keep doing this?
I don't know. It's multiple people scissoring. I don't know.
This is how I do it.
It's a scissoring foursome.
Whee! Anyway.
All right. So that's how somehow lack of creativity porn got us there. There's rewarding porn.
Well, okay. Like here's it.
So like at the end you get a trophy or like a little gold star,
prize, like a blue ribbon.
Yeah. Best fuck.
Yeah. First fuck.
Could be, yeah. You're the winner. Like, you came first.
Why is this one person getting multiple awards?
We have making erotic shapes out of Play-Doh porn. We can move on from that one. I don't.
To me, that falls under lack of creativity porn.
Yeah. There's feeling of guilt porn. I think that's
everyone.
How most of us feel after having sex. It's like, what have I done?
I hope she doesn't find out.
Yeah. Thank God she didn't wake up. bucket full of urine porn.
Like it's just off to the side. It just has to be in the room.
Yeah, it's just nearby. Yeah. There's growing curiosity porn.
Okay. You're like, huh?
Like,
what's this all
that?
sex stuff? I'm interested.
That's what a vagina looks like.
Oh, I was not expecting that, but I'm for it.
It reminds me of the Sarlacc pit.
Why? Why the Sarlacc pit? That thing has teeth.
Educational porn.
Okay.
I mean, when you're young, it's all educational. There's flatline porn.
Ooh.
Basically, you can only get off when somebody's dying or dead. Well, somebody's dead at that point.
Yes, they are legally dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Ironically, illegal in most states.
Yeah. For some reason, prudes. Get the prudes out of office. Let us flatline.
Where did you put the toy porn? So
okay. It's a fun, hide and seek.
It's like it's a hide and seek kind of thing. Like, Now
put on this heavy vest so I can X-ray you.
If you can't tell, well, I guess if you're trying to find the toy they've put on themselves, that's different than the way I was thinking of. Like, if you don't know where the toy is on you, that's weird.
Yeah. Unless it's some kind of dissolving thing.
Pet the Purple Penguin porn. I think we're just going for
just a silly sounding title.
Yeah. Yeah. Stick it in my gap porn.
That's all porn. Unless we're talking about like gap teeth or something.
I think that's what it was referring to originally.
All right.
So it's either a very big gap or a very small person.
Or both.
Yeah.
Right.
Recent burn victim porn.
I'm stuck on the recent part. Because you could have some permanent damage after having severe burns. So the fact that it's recent.
I mean, it doesn't say how bad the burn is.
Like they just burned their finger on the stove or something.
It could just be could be a sunburn.
Oh yeah. Which that would be a little unpleasant. Like I specifically sunburned my penis, and now I'm gonna have sex with it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have sex with my penis like that's my partner. I am going to use it for sex.
I followed you and then unfollowed you.
I like that. Like you followed someone's train of thought, and then you're like, and that caused me to not want to hear anything you have to say ever again.
Mm-hmm. Show it on the overhead porn. That's how we tie this into high school
and how it dates us.
I don't think they should use overhead projectors anymore.
I think it's all smart boards.
High pitch monotone porn.
So the dogs can hear? Like, what is that to irritate, or is that to irritate the young-eared people? Because there's certain frequencies that people over like 35 or something can't hear that younger people can.
It's to weed out all the youngins so you can get all the GR.I.L.F.s up in the club.
In the club where they
never said where
they play this type of entertainment, right?
Yeah.
I often go to clubs to watch niche porn that doesn't exist.
It's more of a theater. It's got a booth. All right, let's try to burn through some of these, Sean. There's what's that stain from porn. Use your drool as a lubricant porn. Stop me anytime if you want to talk specifically about one. Extreme jet lag porn. It's just that goes almost right back to what the lack of that's not I'm thinking of lack of creativity, but more a lack of energy.
Okay, gotcha.
Electric shock porn.
That's real, I bet.
Probably. Zero body movement porn.
Soaking.
Right there, soaking.
Did we invent soaking?
We might have invented soaking, but I think soaking is a way better name for it.
And we didn't specify if the lack of we didn't specify if the lack of movement was before or after any type of penetration.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Mormons.
No. I never said that.
No,
anyone can do this.
Yeah. We have cruel minority porn.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Over preparation porn.
Like someone made sandwiches.
Yeah. It's like they prepped for an orgy, but only invited one person over.
Sure. Yeah.
What's the code word? Yeah. Add it to the tab porn.
Oh, so that you owe someone every time, and you promise to pay them at some
point. And
they
stupidly just they stupidly just keep having sex with you without payment.
What a dope.
There's a social contract porn.
I'm sure that exists too.
Yeah. Feel my extension porn. Ooh, teeter-totter
How far
porn.
are you on the list?
I still have a whole back to front and half a page.
Well, speaking of extension, why don't we extend this into the next episode?
Oh, we might have to do that. I hope you guys are enjoying this because you're getting more of it immediately.
Well, no, they're not.
Next week. Well,
in 1 week's time, they will get more. Unless
it depends on if they wait and listen to multiples. Look, if they like
do
multiples.
yourself a favor and listen to these episodes out of order, and then you'll confuse yourself.
Oh, that'll really throw you off.
We should release this episode as the second one.
That would be
stupid. Inconsiderate.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we have done that before where we've done them out of order.
That's true.
And it was kind of entertaining for us, making references to an episode that hadn't aired yet.
I like those. It's been a while. A while.
That happens every once in a while. We'll have to plan to do something like that. I think that would be even more fun to actually plan it.
I like this idea. In fact, I want to over prepare.
Oh, God, that's hot.
All right, everyone. See you next Tuesday. Boy.
Huh?
More power, boy.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, or Instagram at HSFamousPod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
To enter a woman and just hold it there